Hi friends, today what we're gonna see is how we can parameterize Power App application connecting to this particular SharePoint site. So when we deploy application from developer environment to the production environment, we don't need to manually go edit application and change target SharePoint list. Here is simple example. You can see on screen that we have one Power App application pointing to the SharePoint site, which is in a developer environment. We can package that and deploy into the production environment. But in the production environment, it should automatically connect to the production SharePoint list, not to the developer production list. And that's why this is a very standard challenge, very standard issue that many times what developer do is they just export application or create a duplicate application and just open application and change connection. But in a production environment, you may not have access. So you need to give the production solution and just configuration details. So in that case, it is mandatory to have a connection parameterized, and that's what we will look. That's what we're going to see here. That how we can parameterize it. So let's go for. I have created one sample application. So you can see here I have one developer SharePoint list. I have created developer site especially, and it has one site called product. You can see I have created one entry with name dev product 1, product 4, some sample metadata. I have identical SharePoint list, which is a production SharePoint list, and it has also identical SharePoint list called products, and I have created one entry here, so we can easily identify that where data is coming. So first, let's create one solution. So in this case, when we are building application for developer and then uh, deploy to the production, we need a solution based approach, not we just directly create canvas app. So here I'm creating one solution product. And let's select publisher as a default one. It has created a blank solution. Now what we will do is we will add one app, canvas app called product demo. Now generally when we develop application, what we do is we add a data source like this way, like I am adding data source here, creating SharePoint, selecting SharePoint as a data source simply, and simply select one connection and just select particular. But we're not going to do something like this, because once you select create a connection using this way, like select particular site, it will be hard coded inside application. We don't want that. We want customize one, configurable one, so we can easily configure it, whether it should point to the developer SharePoint site or production dashboard site. So for that, what we'll do is we'll simply close this application. Let this application just save it. We have created this application into the solution. We are just saving it. We have not added anything into this application, like no connection reference, no control, nothing. Just simply save it. And what we will do is we will create two environment variables. So let's leave it. We are back in this solution. Now here what we are doing is we are creating environment variable, which is this one. And name of the environment variable I will give very relevant. We need two variables. One is SharePoint site variable and one is SharePoint list variable. So first is SharePoint site variable. As a data type, I will select as a data source, connector, SharePoint connector. You should always use a service account here, which is available either into your developer environment or in a production environment. I have just one account, so I'm using this one, but you can easily change this connection reference. I always recommend to use service account. Let's select site. In the site, what is the current value? We will choose dev version. So I have this dev version. I'm saving it. This variable didn't save properly. It is in. Okay, SharePoint site. Let's go for URL. This may be conflicted with another variable I have already created. Yeah. So I have SharePoint site URL. Now same thing, I will do another variable which is point list name variable. Select data source again, select SharePoint again, and list. Choose site. So we have URL variable. You can see SharePoint site URL. I have selected SharePoint site URL. And for default value, it will automatically scan like how many list and libraries there. So we have this products library and simply saved. So we have two environment variable, first pointing to the SharePoint URL, SharePoint site, and one is a list name from where we are planning to bring data. So I'm editing this application. Now I will create a connection using this environment variable. So we can easily change value of this environment variable from one SharePoint list to another SharePoint list. Develop, let's add connection. Go for SharePoint here. Where is the SharePoint site? This is data source. Yeah, this is SharePoint. Open. It will always give you recently visited site, but we're not going to use this one or not going to type anything, but we're going to select this advanced one. In advance, we have a SharePoint site URL, which is our environment variable. Let's select it. Again, it will ask you to choose a list, but we will not choose the list. We will choose a list from advanced, which is SharePoint site list name. So we have selected that one. Correct. Site is connected. What I will do is I will add one data table just to see data. Simply data source. We can go for list. Don't worry about the error. It is because of this attachment fill. We don't need it. Save. Publish. We are returning back this application. We'll run this application. Let's see. Let's run this application. Yeah, it is saying new version is coming soon. So we have just recently published. So just wait for a few seconds. It is a very good new feature because earlier we need to keep refreshing it, but now it's telling us that new version is on the way. Yeah, let's refresh it. So you can see it's pointing to the div. Let's create one more record here. So we can see that okay, it's pointing to the right place. Product 2, div product 2, for 1, it's going to be 400 count. So we have two records now. Let's refresh application. Let's see and see. You can see two records. Now this is developer environment. This SharePoint site is developer, while we have one production SharePoint site. So how we can switch it? It's a very standard way. Like we have this solution which has Power App application and two variables. We can easily change value here, but because of caching issue, we can't see effect straight away. So what I will do is we have this very solution. I'm just making sure it's published. Wait for a few seconds, let it publish. Our solution is very small, just a small application and two variables, should not take much time. It's all gone well. So let's go back and export this solution. So we already published all changes, so we don't need to go for it, but let's go for export. We don't want manage solution. We will choose unmanage, export. It is exporting product solution. So not take much time. It's pretty quick. Yeah, it's available for download. I'm downloading it. So it has downloaded. Now you can see my environment is the default one, which is my developer environment. Now I'm switching my environment to the production one. In the production environment, what I will do is I will import my solution. So I have just exported it. And I'm okay, in download, it is a product solution. It is there. Simply importing it. No need to choose any advanced setting or anything. Just click import. Just hit. So it's a production environment. We have developed application into the developer environment where we were pointing our application to the SharePoint developer list. Now in the production environment, we need to point our application to the production SharePoint list, which is this one. So what we will do is we will not modify application, update application, anything. We will simply change parameter solution environment variables, and it should our application should point to the right SharePoint list. So I'm just loading, I'm just configuring this SharePoint list. If you are not happy with this connection, suppose this user is not available into the production environment, you can easily change it. So let's go for here and choose production list, date site list. We don't need to choose any default one. We have just already selected this one. Simply save it. Remember, we have two variables. One is SharePoint site name or say URL, and one is list. So we need to update that one as well. So don't worry about this message. It's we have changed SharePoint site URL variable. That's why it is. We can easily click here and choose product. So our variable value going to be the product. Save. Everything is fine. Let's run. If it is not, we may need to publish this solution, but let's go for it. So this solution should point to the production one. It's saying allow. Let's allow it. You can see it's pointing to the production one. Don't worry about this message. You can see this production one. So our developer has this two product, which is not there. And we have a production value, which is there, which is here. What I'm going to do is let me create production data 8,000. You can see I have created another record. Let's create a few more. Okay. So there are three records now in a production environment where we have let's refresh this page, and you can see it's pointing to the production site. So in this way, what we have learned in this video is you don't need to modify database data source connection via opening application manually and change data source, but you can very easily parameterize it. So in developer environment, you simply connect with your developer SharePoint list, and while in the production, you can simply switch your value of your environment variable and change to the production SharePoint list. Thanks for watching this video. I will keep sharing more tips and tricks. Please subscribe to my SharePoint, my YouTube channels. Thank you. Thank you for watching.